Normally tonight would have been a Facebook night, but I just didn't feel like it was a Facebook night. I don't know.
Here we go.
Yeah, hold on. Let me just make sure this is uh, live streaming on Facebook. All right,
And
just a
you'll,
sec. Okay, hold on. Oop, why on earth did I do that? Okay, I have to turn because we're gonna have a live chat going too. Okay, good. Now I'm going to start on this end. So I'm going to record here. Okay. Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Goldfish Report. I'm your host and researcher, Louisa. Today is Friday, December 26, 2025. I hope everybody who celebrated had a lovely holiday yesterday. This is Goldfish Report number 1187, and it's a special political theater report tonight with the returning most dangerous mind in America, my friend, the Fetz. Welcome back, Jim. Good to see you.
well, Louisa, we have this annual tradition of doing a top 10, and this year there's so many, it's top 12 stories of the year. So
It
I
sure
love
is.
doing it with you, girl, and you're going
Thanks.
strong. I love it.
Thanks, Jim. It's so good to have you back. Exactly. It's the top 12. We're going to talk about these stories and we're going to, Jim is known as the conspiracy guy. And so, you come to the right place if you want to understand what's really going on because nobody dissects the events around us quite like Jim Fetzer does. That's what gets him in trouble. So, Jim, let's start screen sharing. And
Absolutely.
I mean that, I mean that affectionately, it's like, you can't make everybody happy, even when
Or-
you tell the truth. There's always somebody who just,
And Louisa, I specialize in bringing together experts to combine our ability to sort out what's really going on.
right.
Yeah.
So that wasn't the screen. Hold on. I'm going to screen share these slides here. Now, let me try that
Yep.
again. Yeah.
Yep.
All right.
Yep.
So let's see. Let's go for it. So let's do the play from the start. We'll get this going.
Very
So
good.
let's take it from number 12, Jim.
Yep. Venezuela to war or not to war. Now we start off with Kevin Barrett asking, could the U.S. even beat Venezuela in World War III? That sounds extraordinary, but it's not actually quite as crazy as it does sound. Go right ahead, Louisa. Next. Yes. So what's Kevin got to say? The U.S. was humiliated by its 8 trillion forever wars in Iraq and Afghanistan. What will happen if it were to lose to Venezuela? What if the American fleet or much of it were sunk? See, I've been talking about that, revealing the limits of naval power in a world full of cheap anti-ship missiles, and Russia has the best, and they've given them to Venezuela, Louisa. Well, here's his host.
Mm.
Thank you very much, Mr. Barrett, for joining us during this year's top headlines. Let's go ahead and start off with U.S. military buildup and everything happening in Venezuela. Caracas is preparing for a likely U.S. invasion with all of Trump's threats. All the games he's been playing, do you think there's a possibility of the invasion taking place? Yes, says Kevin. I think so. It would be a very ill advised move by the Trump admin. It would essentially be a repeat of the very mistaken, very costly, may I add, invasions of Afghanistan and especially Iraq. Trump actually won office originally in 2016 by exposing the decline. Remember, this was a peace candidate. Trump was a critic of Bush Jr.'s ridiculous claim that Iraq was full of weapons of mass destruction, but now Trump is doing the same thing. He just hilariously classified fentanyl, the drug, as a quote, weapon of mass destruction. So he can use the same excuse that Bush used to invade Iraq, which turned out to be a disaster, to invade Venezuela. I don't think it's going to work out any better, Louisa, if we actually do this.
Well, let me see. You can continue. Yeah. I mean, when you want me to comment, just let me know because I don't want to
You are
interrupt.
welcome at any time whatsoever.
Yeah.
And that would be at least equally big disaster. Venezuela's terrain is much more favorable to guerrilla war than Iraq's ever was. The mountain, the jungles, and then, of course, the anti-ship weapons Venezuela may possess would deliver a terrible shock to the U.S. Navy, and I'm convinced they've got them. The people of the region, especially the more intelligent, educated, know about the horrors of U.S. imperialism and will unite behind Venezuela. Not just those inside the country, but everywhere else as well. I think the same way that the Trump administration and the Israelis were surprised that Iran rallied as a nation against the evil Israeli aggression last June, which led to a lot more virtually unanimous support for the government in Iran. The same kind of thing would happen in Venezuela, but also outside the border. The whole continent, indeed all of Latin America, even Mexico, before people wind up in Venezuela and Latin America in general from these rapacious, crazy Yankee imperialists who want to come in and steal their resources, which Trump has even admitted to be his goal. Oddly enough, Louisa, let me add, some accounts have it he actually, because Saudi Arabia has flooded the market with oil, it's down to 55 a barrel, but American producers can't make money unless it's at least 60. So they're suggesting a lot of this may be to try to contain Venezuela oil from getting on the market to benefit American producers. Now, he's finally admitted, no, it's not really about fentanyl, which of course doesn't come from Venezuela anyhow. That's all just a ludicrous pretext. What it's really about is stealing what Trump says is our oil. You know that old saw, Louise, about Middle Eastern oil. What's our oil doing under your sand? Well, Trump, yeah, there it is. What is our oil doing under Venezuela's land? Maybe Trump doesn't realize he looks at a globe and he sees that Texas is above Venezuela. He thinks the oil leaked out of Texas out of Venezuela. So he's going to get it back. I mean, it's that bad, Louisa. It
Mm.
is that bad.
Well, Jim, I have, look, he signed executive orders in 2017 to go after people responsible for human trafficking, for crimes against humanity. Venezuela they've been running election fraud out of Venezuela. They've been doing it with Dominion servers. You know that there's trafficking, human trafficking. So this isn't the stuff that mainstream media is reporting. So a lot of people can't know about it if mainstream media is not reporting it. But I think Trump is also going after these cartels because the drugs come up through Central America and they come into the United States and I mean, look, it's not a joke. The fentanyl is serious. I mean, the drugs are absolutely decimating, the weak. And people, we really need to be focusing on trying to help these people rather than going to these drugs. So I don't know, plus, Maduro's a little concerned about this, what is it, $50 million bounty on his head? I think there's definitely a lot of people. There's good and bad, within this government. I think they are run by cartels, as Trump has actually stated this. And I think that there's vying for power, but this isn't just isolated. They run drugs and they run human trafficking through Cuba. So Cuba's in the works now. It goes to China, then it goes to Africa, and then it comes back to Venezuela. And let me also say that these are pathways for money and laundering money. And this is how a lot of people get their money. And this is going to be exposed very soon. This is what I'm
Well, let me
uh
add, blowing up these boats was a colossal blunder. He's killed around 90 people, none of whom are known to be dealing drugs. They've had no interdiction, no inspection, and it's a violation of international law. These are war crimes or murders, Louisa, and there's no justification
yeah.
for them. It's all political theater, to use your phrase
Mm,
and framework. I
mm.
mean, there's a lot of it going on here.
Yeah,
And
it is disturbing to see it, when you see it on video, but you don't see any fishing poles, you don't see any fishing lines or crabbing nets, but you do see bundles of things that look probably very suspicious. So I don't know,
Yeah,
Jim.
but Louisa, they'd have to refuel like 20 times to get from Venezuela to the US. I mean, those little boats don't have massive
Yeah.
fuel tanks. So,
Yeah, but no, but they stop at all the islands along the way because that's where it's going, probably.
uh,
Not to the US, but to the islands where
very
all the trafficking.
interesting.
We'll
Yes, yes,
see, we'll see,
yes.
we'll see. Because we've
Continue.
got Epstein, we got a whole bunch of islands there, and they all stop off and it goes here, then there, then there. So I don't know, there's more to the story, but you know,
Well, I've got a bit more here to the story, even right
okay.
now.
Okay, let me screen share this again. I'm just gonna go back over here and share that.
Sure.
Okay, let's see. Can you see it? Yeah, there we go.
No, it's the next slide. Next
Sorry.
slide.
Okay,
Yeah,
there
not
we
a
go.
problem.
Oops, sorry, let me go back.
Not a
Go
problem.
back. There we go. Mhm.
Trump's designs on Venezuela epitomize everything that's wrong with what America has become under neocon domination. I could not agree more. Continue. Truth Seeker, of course, wonderful. You may be able to help. I actually turn out to have some cataracts. I'm going to have surgery. Perhaps you could help
I'll read
read.
you want yeah, I'll read it. Okay, sure. You know, if the reports we're getting are true, the Trump administration is reportedly getting close to launching another costly US regime change adventure in a foreign country. Costly for us, that is, but lucrative for the oligarchs, isn't it always? At a time when America has no shortage of deeply rooted problems that are in desperate need of attention, no doubt, Trump continues to focus its eyes on gobbling up foreign resource wealth and settling old scores with foreign leaders he doesn't like. A Reuters poll released this week shows only 21% of Americans support the removal from power of Venezuelan dictator Nicolas Maduro by the U.S. military. Just 29% support the attacks on alleged narco terrorist speedboats in international waters. That doesn't mean Americans like Maduro or that they're against stopping drugs from coming into the country. It's more complicated than that. Please hang with me. Die-hard Trumpers or Trumpsters are quick to inform me that Venezuela won't be any problem. The government will fall within days or weeks of being pounded by the mighty U.S. military, and this will amount to more of a police action than an actual military conflict. What this argument fails to consider is that while removing an unfriendly leader from Venezuela may be an easy mission, it's what comes next that will provoke tricky and possibly, what is that, intractable. Because once we do a regime change and install our puppet government, we now own that country's problems, all of them. It's now on us to fix it. And there's a good possibility, as Colonel Douglas Macgregor and other military experts have pointed out, that Venezuela becomes a magnet or cause celeb for every Latin American with pent-up hatred for American imperialism. Guerrilla fighters then flooded into the country from Brazil, Colombia, Nicaragua, El Salvador, and throughout the region to join in the fight and help Venezuelans take their country back from the despised Yankees. I hope this doesn't happen. I hope this amounts to a quick and easy mop up mission, and we end up with a friendly and thankful country of Venezuela, whose citizens are forever grateful for having been liberated by Uncle Sam. But history shows very few examples of this, and many more in which the invaded country becomes a quagmire that's far less easy to pacify than it was to destabilize and overthrow. It's time to kick the neocons out of Washington and rebuild our republic. They have just about destroyed it, and Venezuela might be the final foreign experiment or nail in the coffin. Just look at Vietnam, Afghanistan, Iraq, Libya, Somalia, Syria, and all the other countries that the US invaded with its military or destabilized with CIA interventions. Are any of them better off? How many Muslim refugees have been herded into America from these countries as a result of these foreign adventures?
And how many times have we been told it's going to be a piece of cake in a couple of days, couple of weeks, and it turns out to be years and years and years. So
True.
I think
But
it's
it's
a go ahead.
No, they're good points. And Colonel McGregor, boy, this guy is somebody to listen to and pay
Oh,
attention
yeah.
to. Isn't he a powerhouse, man?
He's my number one, numero uno. He's absolutely the best geopolitical commentator in the world today.
And strategist. I mean, just his
Yeah,
reasons for things.
brilliant.
And oh, absolutely. He's a great, for viewers aren't familiar, you need to look up Colonel Douglas McGregor and just follow what his commentary is on this because he knows the history of the regions too, so intimately well. That's why he speaks with great wisdom in the arena of the war theater and so forth. um and he has definitely been critical of Trump with regard to Venezuela as well, Jim.
One of the ships down there, by the way, is the USS Iwo Jima. It's an LPH, landing platform helicopter. Notice it's a carrier for choppers, but because they vertically take off and land, they don't need the stable flight deck, so they have a more shallow keel. I was anchored out aboard the Iwo Jima in Formosa, Kaohsiung Harbor, when I was awakened by the officer of the deck at 3:30 in the morning to tell me JFK had been shot. Then an hour later, waking me again to tell me they caught the guy who did it. I thought then it was very fast work. We know today why. But the point I'm making is you might have 1,500 Marines down there. Maduro's got a militia of 4 to 8 million. They're giving out rifles to those in the working sectors of Caracas as we speak.
Yeah,
There's no
yeah,
way 1,500 Marines can take on 4 million
yeah,
Venezuelans. I mean, it's just a fantasy.
yeah.
So,
They're
and
giving out, the rifles to the citizens in case of a land invasion.
yeah, yeah, and that's very trusting. See, it turns out, by the way, that gun ownership and homicide rates are inversely related. So the more who have guns, the lower the homicide rate. The Democrats try to sell us a bill of goods that claim the more guns, the more homicide, but the facts are the opposite. So,
Absolutely.
look at the cities with the strongest gun control. You find they also have the highest homicide rates. If every citizen were packing, there'd be practically no crime at all, Louise.
Well, to your point, Jim, I just saw a report recently where the mainstream media refuses to report that what was it, over 47% of what was it? Over 47% of gun violence was um handled with people that own guns, and they're not reporting that. So, almost half of the gun violence was dealt with people. Well, we're to see this in your later slides when it comes to Bondi Beach, but a good Samaritan went and kind of tackled the guy. But
Yeah,
people, when you're armed, I mean, how many times have you seen this, in the United States, somebody who's there, we've heard
yeah.
about the shootings, right? Where someone was in church, they had their gun and, took
And
care of business.
and the 47% you were talking about was
Yeah.
for civilians who were concealed carry to put down the perp or took care of it,
Per-
oppose the violence to the benefit. So the police had their, auxiliary force. It's law abiding. Why would you take guns away from law abiding citizens? It's never made any sense because the criminals aren't going to give up their guns. They're not law abiding. That's what makes them criminals. I mean, how dumb do we have to be, Louisa? This is mass stupidity.
Yeah, I agree, Jim. Absolutely. I think we need to have a national concealed carry. Actually, I think I've heard, have I am I mistaken, Jim? Have I heard sentiments of this coming
Yeah,
from
yeah,
the
yeah, yeah,
DOJ, our
yeah,
current
yeah.
DOJ?
There
Yeah.
is sentiment. I
All
have my
right.
concealed carry permit. I encourage everyone to get one.
Yeah, exactly.
That was
Exactly.
number 12. Now we turn to number 11. Very sobering.
Mm. All right, Jim. Let's move on. Number 11, oh, sorry about that. It's very sensitive.
Oh,
Wow.
that's
The
fine. The
COVID.
COVID.
Go
Yeah,
ahead.
if anyone wondered whether this COVID thing really was a depopulation program, listen to Maduro here. This is a head of Pfizer talking about what it was all about. Listen to what he
Okay.
says right off the bat here. This is going to creep
I
you out.
think that it's really a fulfillment of a dream that we had together with my leadership team when we started in 19. The first week we met in January of 19 in California and to set up the goals
Just hit it again.
I think that it's really a fulfillment of a dream that we had together with my leadership team when we started in 19. The first week we met in January of 19 in California and to set up the goals for the next 5 years. And one of them was by 2023 we will reduce the number of people in the world by 50%. I think today this dream is becoming reality.
And I'm going to go with Stefan Bancel. Let's talk about vaccine development.
You can go to the next slide, but I mean, think about it. We just said the world's population today is roughly 8 billion. And he's saying but the plan was by 2023 to reduce it by 50%. Wipe out 4 billion. 4 billion people. He said it openly. This is at the World Economic Forum when they thought the pandemic was going to be a success. And I tell you, because of shedding, they might still achieve their goal, but you got an open admission here. This was mass murder on an unprecedented scale, Louisa, on an absolute, it boggles the mind. He's boasting of a plan to kill 4 billion people.
And they have to tell us that for a reason. These are the elites, these are globalists, and they have to tell us their plans. That's their religion. They have to tell us what they're going to do to us. And when they tell us, you should believe them.
Well, when they tell us, Louisa, they feel they're transferring responsibility to us.
Right.
So if we don't do anything about it, that's our fault, not theirs. They're not guilty because they told us what they were going to do, and then it was up to us to do something about it. But I mean, this is just inconceivable to talk about mass murder on this scale, utterly unprecedented. But that's what COVID was all about.
Well, and you know what? The victors, always write history, right? They're the ones who always write history. So we don't really, as you've pointed out many times, the unpopular but the truthful facts about what happened in Auschwitz and the whole, Holocaust was, not exactly, how it was reported to us, especially when there's a New York Times article that shows that they were talking about 6 million Jews being exterminated or whatever in 1917. And as far as I know, again, wait, that's another 6 million on top of the 6 million. So, I mean, they keep trying this narrative, right?
There are 236 reports in the international press that 6 million Jews in dire straits or fear of loss of their lives beginning in 1890, all before the Nuremberg tribunals. And it turns out the number is theological. It's from a disputed passage in Deuteronomy that requires interpolation. But the fact is, the International Committee of the Red Cross kept copious records on the age, the sex, the ethnicity, the religion, and cause of death. In 1993, they recalibrated the total, Louisa. 296,081 from all causes combined. Not one of whom was put to death in a gas chamber. There weren't any. These were labor camps. And while they did use Zyklon B to kill body lice to prevent the spread of typhus and dysentery in the camps, that was to maintain their health for the simple reason you can't get work out of a corpse. In fact, if you look at the map of Auschwitz, there was a woodworking shop, there was a symphony hall, there's a hospital with, guess what, OBGYN facilities. There was even a brothel, Louise, because Hitler was convinced by one of his generals that men would work harder if they knew they'd be rewarded with sex. So hundreds of babies were born at these alleged extermination centers. The whole story is absurd.
Holy
the most
cow.
important book about it came out here a few years back by Nick Kollerstrom entitled Breaking the Spell, for which I was very flattered to be asked to write the introduction. So Breaking the Spell. If you want to get the hard, cold facts, and I say about it, Louisa, if you've done the research, then you're either a Holocaust denier or a big fat liar. There aren't any other choices.
Yeah. It's hard to believe that, we would be lied to such an extreme degree, and that it would be propagated, throughout our education, you know, but that's also a bigger story, which I don't want to get too sidetracked on. So let's just go back to,
Continue with our next
yeah,
slide. Yeah.
I know, it's so aggravating, isn't it? Dealing with this. Whoops, that's the wrong one. Hold on. Where did our slides go? Yeah. Oh, okay. It's this one here. And I'm just going to skip ahead to the next one then.
And Louise,
So,
I've
yeah.
been hit with an attack. I'm gonna have to go out and come back. I've been hit with an attack.
Okay, because you seem fine right here, just so you know.
I seem fine right there.
Yeah, it's there's nothing that there's nothing that you I hear you and I see you just fine. Just so you know.
Okay, well, let me see.
But if you feel like you need to, that's fine.
Uh,
I
well,
see you and I hear you, so you're good.
well, I may need you to read more then because
That's okay. Let me keep going.
Right ahead. Go right ahead.
Okay. So Steve Kirsch asks, were the COVID vaccines genocide? And second smartest guy replies, Steve Kirsch, an American entrepreneur, inventor of the optical mouse, Substack author who has done much to expose the PSYOP-19 scamdemic tyranny, and a victim of the modified mRNA slow kill bioweapon vaccine, still somehow has his doubts about the true nature of the ongoing great depopulation agenda. In a recent article published by Kirsch titled, Were the COVID vaccines genocide? Let's go here. He wrote, I seriously doubt it. If you have the smoking gun memo, we just read it. They tell us themselves, but I'll keep going.
Yeah,
If you
I know. How could he
is
doubt
that
it?
not smoking gun or not,
I
Jim?
think he's talking about an AI reply, see, and the AIs have been programmed to give you a phony answer.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's totally. So if you have the smoking gun memo details, the whole plan, please disclose it in the comments. I mean, okay. In general, killing off your customer base is a bad for business. To qualify as genocide, there must be a deliberate, organized intent to destroy a group of people, not just negligence or profit-driven harm. It is truly stunning how Kirsch prefers to proverbially keep his head buried deep beneath the sand in the face of painfully obvious facts, concluding, in short, no, it wasn't a centrally organized genocide with explicit extermination intent. Yes, it was a massive ethical, medical, and political catastrophe, an unprecedented betrayal of public trust that cost lives globally. Before we get to my reply to him, let us take a look at the Substack's pinned X post. So, do you believe vaccines are well, yes, 92%, 92, almost 93, Jim.
Yeah. Yes. People have caught on, Louisa. They've caught on to the scam.
Yeah. So Kirsch and yours truly have some direct message exchanges about this X post, and suffice to say, he may not be as naive as he pretends to be, or he has now miraculously changed his mind. Clearly, based on my X poll, there is an obvious consensus through course. There is a strong confirmation bias given that the sample size skewed towards this Substack conspiratorial perspective. And here's my comment to Kirsch just now, which was hastily composed, citing off the top of my head a pair of older Substack articles. So the person who is reading this is known as second smartest guy in the world. I don't know who that is, Jim. Do you?
Yeah. Very clever using that name.
Right. So in any event, let me go back. So his reply is this. Based on just the majority of patents that are held by DoD and Pentagon, these vaccines are 100% bioweapons. Based on all of these experts and corporations and intelligence industrial complex agencies knowing how deadly this platform is and how it could never, ever get past animal trials, which they all died actually in the trials, needed the EU, these vaccines are 100% bioweapons. For example, see the ferret studies here. So this is what I was referring to. The greatest fear among vaccinologists is the creation of a vaccine that is not only ineffective, but which exacerbates disease. Unfortunately, the COVID vaccines have a history of enhancing disease. He cites an article here. So yes, Steve, these are 100% known bioweapons, and it is time for you to stop being so naive. A P.S. Reminder, a peaceful culling is underway.
Yes.
Yeah. So COVID vaccine. So 5 years after world's largest medical experiment, there's still no mandatory system for tracking millions of injuries. Governments still haven't established a mandatory system to track health outcomes related to COVID-19 vaccines. How convenient, Jim.
Yes, 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 yes.
Yeah.
So we can't actually say the number because they aren't tracking it. This is deliberate obfuscation and concealment.
Absolutely. As a result, physicians rarely collect standardized data. Potential patterns go undetected, and millions of patients with new or unexplained conditions have no answers. But Jim, the VAERS, which takes like a doctor half an hour, it's reported, like for each report that they do, and when they have hundreds of patients, they simply just do not have the time to fill out all the VAERS. But nonetheless, there were still tens of thousands of VAERS reports filled out of
Yes,
adverse effects of these vaccines.
yes. And you
Yeah.
knew the number was 10 times or 50 times the number being reported.
Yes, yes. In fact, Dr. Scott Werner, who unfortunately has passed away, he was a co-host of mine. He was a geneticist and he was an obstetrician, and he knew that as a doctor himself, only 10% were reported, as you said, Jim. He
Yes.
made that
Yeah.
statement. The world conducted the largest medical intervention in history when billions of people received COVID-19 vaccines beginning in late 2020. Yet 5 years later, no comprehensive mandatory system exists in the US or anywhere else to track down adverse events the vaccine may be causing on a massive scale. No government health agency, medical association, or hospital system has required doctors, clinics, or hospitals to routinely ask every patient about new symptoms, cross-reference their COVID-19 and vaccination history, and systematically report that information to a central database capable of detecting possible patterns. Gee, how convenient, Jim.
Yes.
I wonder
Yes.
why. I wonder why,
Exactly.
but we'll get to that in a minute. Today, untold millions of patients with mysterious or debilitating new conditions are said to be routinely told their symptoms are due to anxiety, depression, unexplained long COVID, or simply treated without regard to what could be the cause without any effort to collect the data that could prove or disprove the vaccine connection. The federal vaccine adverse events reporting system, which we just cited, Jim, co-managed by the Centers for Disease Control, the rats themselves, the prevention and CDC and the U.S. Food and Drug Administration since 1990, remains the primary U.S. tool for identifying previously unknown adverse events from vaccines and their frequency. So ask the fox who's guarding the hen house, eating the hens, whether or not there's any hens missing, right? I mean, this is really what we're doing. By law, healthcare providers must report certain serious events after any vaccination, including hospitalization, permanent disability, or death, to the VAERS database. But during the COVID-19 vaccine rollout, compliance was extremely low, and shockingly, neither the government nor medical organizations enforced the requirement at perhaps the most critical time in our history in terms of sheer number being exposed to experiments, both in terms of specific vaccines and novel form of delivery.
Yeah.
Well, do you want to, is there any other comments you
I
wanted to
think
make about?
that was just excellent. Excellent, Louisa. You read it very well, and it's all so telling about the crime, this monstrous crime, and how it was covered up. And I'm sorry to say, everyone involved in Warp Speed bears responsibility. And that's from the president down. It's a shameful record of the greatest effort to kill human beings in world history. Right there. We've just lived through it. And they ain't done yet, Louisa.
Well, Jim, I have to tell you, I saw a video from someone in the military, and I haven't found it since. If anybody has it, please post the link or send the link to me or to Jim. And it was someone from the military who took his camera and showed all these servers. And he says, every one of you who took a vaccine is in these servers right here. Because they injected some kind of microchip or some kind of
Oh,
intelligent nanotechnology. And they are not only they're monitoring everybody who's been vaccinated through your through these vaccines, through well, let's see. They did it was La Quinta Columna, I think, also identified nanotechnology inside of these vials
yeah.
as they, is that correct, Jim? Yeah.
There's
So
these self-assembling bots in the blood. You're
yeah.
absolutely 100%. During what my penultimate speaker for my Volkswagen Conspiracy Conference of last weekend, well, actually, it was at 12th through the 14th, was reporting about having his own blood examined, and he had magnification up to 2 and 4,000 times, and you could see these bots in the blood. I mean, it's creepy stuff. Now, he went through elaborate process and got it out, but because of shedding, almost everyone is contaminated. I didn't
Yeah.
get the shot, but
Yeah.
my family did. I don't have any doubt that I'm contaminated, and so is almost the entire world, Louisa. And
Well,
I think, go ahead.
the thing is this. So if you took the vaccine, your the mRNA modified your genes.
Yeah,
So using CRISPR technology, it edited your DNA,
yeah,
and it's producing spike protein
yeah,
indefinitely. Indefinitely.
yes.
However, those people who didn't take the vaccine, you may be shed on. So the spike protein, but that doesn't mean it's an mRNA. That doesn't mean it's a CRISPR technology that is changing. It's just spike protein that's accumulating in your system. If I'm not mistaken, it's spike protein that's accumulating in your system because of shedding, and which then gives you, symptoms of being unwell because it'll then, attack your organs. But nicotine, as Dr. Brian Ardis had brilliantly researched and revealed, was that the nicotine receptors we have throughout our entire body, the spike protein actually binds to the nicotine receptor. So when you
Yeah.
take nicotine into the system, because they were reporting, if you remember, Jim, during COVID, they were reporting how people who were smoking were not getting sick because they're taking in the nicotine, because it has a 30% greater propensity to bind to the nicotine receptor than the spike protein does. So it's an effective way for us to detox, for everybody to detox. The
Even
thing
have
is,
nicotine patches, Louisa. See,
patches,
I got them. I was going to use them, but it turns out because I have kidney condition that I can't, it affects me adversely, so I can't do it, but it's a way to go. Ivermectin is another way to go. There are things
right,
that can be
right.
done.
Well, nattokinase is one thing that breaks down these amyloids. A lot of people were finding these amyloids in their bloodstream. In fact, Dr. Werner, on a Food for the Soul report that we had done in the very beginning, before even vaccines came out, the first thing he told everybody to do was to take nattokinase, because that breaks the spike protein down. You also need to have a binder, something like bromelain or NAC, N-acetylcysteine or N-acetylcholine. I'm sorry, you have to get NAC. I don't remember which one it represented, but that will also bind to it so that you can get rid of it from your system. But you have Dr. Peter McCullough out there with his McCullough protocol. You also have Dr. Stella Emanuel, part of the frontline doctors. She's out there too. So there's a lot. There's just so much more. But Nicholas Hulsher, who is an epidemiologist, and you can follow him on X. He comes with receipts. I mean, they are doing studies now, Jim, which are showing that this is it's not fit for humans whatsoever, these mRNA vaccines, and even flu shots. Don't take it. Everything's going to be mRNA. So, at this point, what we're dealing with is a very maniacal, we're really still dealing with the military industrial complex. So why does the military have everybody's, vitals on their servers? Why is the military? See,
Well,
this was a military operation.
there are some claims that DARPA was responsible for the development of the vax.
Yeah. So, Well, it certainly was, as information comes available, the stories get bigger and bigger. But certainly, Nicholas Hulsher has been revealing the studies that show the astronomical amount of deaths. And I may show that before the end of the report. But let's keep going because we have more to report, don't we?
Indeed, we do indeed.
Sure do. Let's keep moving. All right. Gaza genocide continues. This is heartbreaking, Jim. It's hard to believe that we're dealing with this, and very, very
It
hard to believe.
is grotesque.
Rebranding.
Rebrand genocide. Chris Hedges addresses the issue. He does a brilliant job on this.
Okay.
Let me see what I can do.
First, oh,
It was Israel's right to defend itself. Then it was a war, even though by Israel's own military intel database, 83% of the casualties were civilians. The 2.3 million Palestinians in Gaza living under an Israeli air, land, and sea blockade have no army, no air force, no mechanized unit, no tank, no navy, no missiles, no heavy artillery, no fleet of killer drones, no sophisticated tracking system to make out movement, or an ally like the United States, which has given Israel at least $21.7 billion in military aid since October 7, 2023. And yet,
oops, sorry.
Israel has been unable to defeat Hamas. Now it's a ceasefire, except, of course, as usual, Israel only abides by the first of the 20 stipulations and freed around 2,000 Palestinian captives held in Israeli prisons, 1,700 detained after October 7th, as well as around 300 bodies of Palestinians in exchange for the return of the 20 remaining Israeli captives. Israel has violated every other condition. It has tossed the agreement brokered by a Trump admin without Palestinian participation into the bonfire with all the other agreements and peace accords concerning Palestinians. Israel's extensive and blatant flouting of international agreements and international law. Israel and its allies refused to abide by 3 sets of legally binding orders by the International Court of Justice and its advisory opinions, as well as the Genocide Convention and international humanitarian law, presage a world where the law is whatever the most militarily advanced countries say it is. In other words, might makes right.
Yeah.
The Sham Peace Plan, President Donald Trump's comprehensive plan to end the Gaza conflict is an act of stunning betrayal of the Palestinian people, even though it was endorsed by most of the Security Council in November, with China and Russia abstaining. Member states wash their hands of Gaza, turn their backs on the genocide. The adoption of Resolution 2803 in 2025, as the Middle East scholar Norman Finkelstein writes, was simultaneously a revelation of moral insolvency and a declaration of war against Gaza. By proclaiming international law null and void, the Security Council proclaimed itself null and void. Vis-a-vis Gaza, the Council transmuted into a criminal conspiracy. The next phase is supposed to see Hamas surrender its weapons and Israel withdraw from Gaza. But these 2 steps will never happen. Hamas, along with other Palestinian factions, reject the Security Council resolution. They say they will disarm only when the occupation ends and a Palestinian state is created. Prime Minister Netanyahu, meanwhile, has vowed that if Hamas does not disarm, it'll be done the hard way.
Yeah.
But they haven't been able to do it the hard way. So why should they think they'd be able to do it now?
Exactly. It's, and not only that, anyone who is protesting against what's happening in Palestine, they're being arrested or they're being harassed. It's like, they're shutting down any dissent whatsoever. And then you have Trump reposting the Trump, Gaza AI video that was made. I mean, how heartless and cold was that? Like,
Yeah.
he's trying to make it into a Gaza casino, it's like, You know, it just heartless when you're decimating a population there in their homeland, and they're going to rebuild it, and of course they're going to rebuild it with all of the elites and oligarchs investing in that, and they're going to end up owning it. Jim, it's terrible.
Continue.
Okay, so Kevin Barrett, Israel mocks Trump's peace plan. Oh, do you see that? BB was doing the bird. American Free Press. So was U.S. President Trump's ceasefire agreement signed by Israel and Hamas on October 10th a step in the right direction? Many observers were skeptical, citing the pact's vagueness and Israel's record of shamelessly violating virtually every agreement it has ever signed. Others extended Trump the benefit of the doubt. They pointed out that the U.S. theoretically has complete leverage over Israel, which can't survive without lavish American largesse. Given Israel's complete dependence on the U.S. taxpayer, Trump could easily force the Israelis to adhere to the agreement if he genuinely wanted to. Just a very good point. Very good point, Jim. Thus far, the skeptics' case has prevailed. Israel has violated Trump's so-called ceasefire almost 800 times, killing nearly 400 people, the vast majority unarmed civilians. And it has refused to comply with the ceasefire's key tenet, complete withdrawal from Gaza. That was supposed to have happened in coordination with the establishment of an internationally coordinated stabilization force, consisting of a unified Palestinian entity administering a technocratic government to which Hamas would defer as it disarmed. But Israel is preventing the creation of the unified Palestinian administration that is central to Trump's peace plan. The Palestinian leader who could bring together all the factions is Marwan Barghouti, who remains in an Israeli prison in ill health under incessant torture. Thus far, Trump has refused to force Israel to release Barghouti. So the ceasefire has not moved past phase 1, which Hamas has honored while Israel has not, into the phase 2 that would end the genocide. That failure is deliberate. Israel has systematically undermined the ceasefire in myriad ways, not only by continuing to massacre Gazans, but also by allowing vastly less food and humanitarian supplies into Gaza than Trump's ceasefire obliges them to. According to the Trump-brokered agreement, Israel must allow 600 trucks per day into Gaza. The United Nations reports that Israel has violated that provision by limiting the number of trucks to barely over 100 per day. As a result, Palestinians are still dying of starvation and exposure. Professor Mazin Quimsi of Bethlehem University reported last weekend that 14 Palestinian children died of exposure in a single day as cold winter rains drenched communities that have been systematically denied adequate nutrition, clothing, and shelter after Israel bombed their homes to rubble. What does Israel hope to gain from such cruelty? Real estate? The Israelis are committing genocide, massacring people by the tens of thousands with the intention of expelling the survivors so they can steal their victims' property. And that is what they have been doing continuously, sometimes quickly and other times more gradually, since the Palestinian genocide began in earnest in 1948. Isn't that what we just talked about? And here he is, boasting this AI video of, this all golden, age over in Gaza. Just unbelievable. Very, very cold. Very, very inappropriate, I would say. Though the official number of Gazans murdered since October 7th is currently around 70,000, that number represents only people directly killed by Israel whose bodies have been identified. Countless others have died from starvation, disease, and exposure, while still more lie rotting under rubble that remains to be excavated. Virtually all of Gaza has been bombed to rubble. The real number of victims is undoubted, well over 100,000 and probably closer to nearly 700,000, estimated by Ralph Nader. But Israel has failed to remove most of the population of Gaza. which still numbers at least 1.5 million, down from the 2.2 million before the genocide intensified in 2023. So rather than steal all of Gaza at once, Netanyahu has settled on a plan to gobble up half of Gaza. Oh, sorry. If I just touch that, it just jumps around. Where was it? Okay.
You want to go too forward, too forward.
Oh, sorry. Did it not? Is this it?
One
Yeah.
more.
Okay. Sorry. Pardon me. Okay, so yeah, so rather than steal all of it at once, Netanyahu has settled on a plan to gobble up half of Gaza under the guise of ceasefire yellow line provision. Trump's ceasefire required Israel to immediately withdraw from about half of Gaza to behind a yellow line. So arbitrary, right? Then it would permanently depart from all of Gaza as soon as phase 2 began. But Netanyahu, as we have seen, is systematically violating the ceasefire and obstructing phase 2. That's because Israel has no intention of honoring the agreement and withdrawing. The yellow line is a new borderline. The IDF Chief of Staff, Lieutenant General Eyal Zamir has announced. Zamir's announcement represents a slap in the face to Donald Trump and his peace plan. By making the yellow line the new Israel-Gaza border, Israel would be stealing more than half of Gaza. That's not what the peace agreement says. It requires Israel to withdraw from all of Gaza. Let's just talk about this for a second, Jim, because it's very disturbing, and I thought it was extremely inappropriate and quite, I mean, just callous to be reposting a video of a newly rebuilt Gaza as they're genociding people.
Oh, I know. Oh, I know. I'm sorry to say Trump is at this point a Zionist stooge. There's some signs he wants to break free, but I'm not at all sure he's going to be able to do it. And remember, he campaigned as a peace candidate. He was going to end these wars with Ukraine in 24 hours. And I believed him. But instead, he provided the weapons, the equipment necessary to continue the slaughter in Gaza. He's continued to support Zelensky, though now, as we're about to find, he sought to transfer that responsibility to NATO. Bibi's coming here to the U.S. on the 29th to try to talk him into attacking Iran again, which is going to be no piece of cake. Iran is ready. They're beefed up. In fact, they inflicted so much damage on Israel in that 12-day exchange that Israel begged for a ceasefire. Louise, it was to save their own skin. And Iran now has S-400 anti-aircraft, anti-missile system. They have tons of fighters they didn't have before. They are beefed up and they are ready to go. They only used 5% of their missiles on Israel in the past. They've saved the best. And believe me, they can wipe Israel off the map if it comes to it.
Well, we saw the Iranian drones over in Ukraine, right?
Yes.
Very
Iran
effective.
mutually beneficial because the Iranians are brilliant in developing drones, and the Russians with anti-ship, anti-aircraft, and all the other great stuff they have.
Well, it was interesting because when they were talking about, okay, after the October 7th event, they wanted to go hunt down Hamas. And but then that wasn't exactly what they were doing. They were kind of considering any Palestinian. It seemed to me, I mean, I'm just give my opinion how it looked, that anyone who was Palestinian was Hamas to them. They didn't seem to care.
Oh, yeah. No. That's their opinion. That's their opinion.
Yeah.
That's why they kill the kids, too. They're going to grow up.
But didn't Ron Paul in the Senate say years ago that it was Israel that created Hamas? Because they needed to have a bully to justify taking the rest of the land, right?
They created Hamas as an alternative to Yasser Arafat's Palestinian Liberation Organization, which was too strong. But Hamas has acquired a life of its own.
Yeah.
And when the Israelis began destroying the Gaza, all the cities, they created all these wonderful locations for guerrilla warfare, which the Israelis were unprepared to fight, but was Hamas area of specialization. So Hamas had basically defeated Israel in Gaza. That's why they're going about all these other techniques now, starvation, see.
Yeah. Well, then it just, you know, seemed a little ridiculous. The next thing you heard that they're, you know, bombing Beirut. They're in Lebanon, and then now they're here, and it's like, what? So it definitely seemed like, as you said so many times during our previous political theater reports, Jim, you know, the Greater Gaza is really what's in their sight here. I mean, not the Greater Gaza, the Greater Israel. I'm sorry.
Project is what it's all about.
Yeah, you've always
They
said
want
that, Jim.
to virtually all of Saudi Arabia, Syria, Lebanon. You
Yeah.
know, I mean, even Iraq up to the Euphrates River. So you want from the Euphrates to the Nile. That's the two blue stripes on the Israeli flag.
Are these all these countries gonna just allow Israel to do that? I mean, especially Saudi Arabia? Are they gonna, you know?
They have used us to weaken those countries so they can accomplish their goals. That's what 9/11 was all about.
Yeah.
And the US obligingly picked,
Mm.
you know, the might to destroy these countries for the benefit of Israel.
Right. All right. Our number 9 spot, Jim.
U.S. divorce from NATO over Ukraine appears imminent. It's taking place. And I say this is all to the good.
Oh, absolutely. NATO is the North Atlantic Terrorist Organization, so let them go. Let's disband it, and Turkey's playing a main role in that. But did you want to go, or do you want...
Russia demands to end the war in Ukraine. Do Trump and Witkoff, his representative, understand that? He's made no bones about it. Full withdrawal of Ukrainian forces. Ukraine must completely withdraw troops from the entire administrative territories of the Donetsk, Luhansk, Kherson, and Zaporizhzhia Oblast, the 4 regions Russia partially occupies and annexed in 2022, going areas not now under Russian control. Ukrainian neutrality. Kiev must officially abandon aspiration to join NATO and commit a permanent and neutral status with no foreign military bases or alliances. Demilitarization and, perhaps most difficult, denazification. Significant limits on Ukrainian armed force size and armament, removal of neo-Nazi influence, recognition of Russian control, international acknowledgement of Crimea as Russian, and the 4 regions as parts of Russia, lifting of sanctions. The West must remove all sanctions on Russia. Other issues: protection of Russian-speaking population rights, Ukraine to remain non-nuclear. Putin portrayed Russia as negotiating from a position of strength, said there is no need for Moscow to make new compromises beyond those it claims to have already entertained in earlier talks around U.S.-backed peace ideas. This is Russia's position, and they are standing firm.
Yeah. Yeah, the Trump's administration new U.S. national security strategy signals a divorce from NATO over... Oh, I think we just read... Did you just read this one?
I want you to
Did that go forward?
Yeah, go forward. You're doing it.
Is this the right one? Okay.
You're the right one.
It's one thing to produce a written national security strategy, but the real test is whether or not Donald Trump is serious about implementing it. The key takeaways are the rhetorical de-escalation with China and putting the onus on Europe to keep Ukraine alive. The 2025 National Security Strategy of the United States, released by the White House on December 4th, 2025, marks a potentially profound shift in U.S. foreign policy under President Donald Trump's second administration as compared to his first term as president. This 33-page document explicitly embraces an America First doctrine, rejecting global hegemony and ideological crusades in favor of pragmatic, transactional realism focused on protecting core national interests, homeland security, economic prosperity, and regional dominance in the Western Hemisphere. It critiques past U.S. overreach as a failure that weakened America, positioning Trump's approach as a necessary correction to usher in a new golden age. The strategy prioritizes reindustrialization, aiming to grow the U.S. economy from $30 trillion to $40 trillion by 2030s. Border security and deal-making over multilateralism or democracy promotion. It accepts a multipolar world, downgrading China from a pacing threat to an economic competitor and calling for selected engagement with adversaries. Yet Donald Trump's actions during the first 11 months of his presidency have been inconsistent, even contradictory of the written strategy. Here are the major rhetorical shifts in strategy compared to the previous strategies released during the respective presidency of Trump 2017 and Biden 2022. So from global cop to regional hegemon, unlike Biden's 2022 NSS, which emphasizes alliances and great power competition, or Trump's 2017 version, which named China, Russia as revisionists, this document ends U.S. forever burdens abroad. It prioritizes the Americans over Eurasia, framing Europe and the Middle East as deprioritized theaters. The ideological retreat. Democracy promotion is explicitly abandoned. We seek peaceful commercial relations with imposing democratic change. Tell that to the Venezuelans. Authoritarians are not judged, and the EU is called anti-democratic. Confrontational ally relations. Europe faces scathing criticism for migration, free speech curbs, and civilian erasure risks. Example, the demographic shifts making nations unrecognizable in 20 years. Absolutely. The U.S. vows to support patriotic European parties resisting this, drawing Kremlin-like rhetoric, accusations from EU leaders. But I have some comments about this, but I'll wait until I'm done. China policy acknowledges failed engagement, seeks mutually advantageous ties, but with deterrence. Taiwan as a priority. No full decoupling, but restrictions on tech independency. And the multipolar acceptance invites regional powers to manage their spheres, Japan in East Asia, Arab-Israeli bloc in the Gulf, and signaling U.S. restraint to avoid direct confrontations. Let me see. Okay. So Trump's NSS signals a dramatic change in U.S. policy towards the war in Ukraine by essentially dumping the responsibility for keeping Ukraine afloat on the Europeans. The portion of the NSS dealing with Ukraine is delusional with respect to the military capabilities of the European states. We want Europe to remain European, to regain its civilization, self-confidence, and to abandon its failed focus on regulatory suffocation. This lack of self-confidence is most evident in Europe's relationship with Russia. European allies enjoy a significant hard power advantage over Russia by almost every measure, save nuclear weapons. As a result of Russia's war in Ukraine, European relations with Russia are now deeply attenuated, and many Europeans regard Russia as an existential threat. Managing European relations with Russia will require significant U.S. diplomatic engagement, both to reestablish conditions of strategic stability across the Eurasian landmass and to mitigate the risk of conflict between Russia and the European states. It is a core interest of the United States to negotiate an expeditious cessation of hostilities in Ukraine in order to stabilize European economies, prevent unintended escalation or expansion of the war, and reestablish strategic stability with Russia, as well as to enable the post-hostilities reconstruction of Ukraine to enable its survival as a viable state. The Ukraine war has had the perverse effect of increasing Europe's, especially Germany's, external dependencies. Today, German chemical companies are building some of the world's largest processing plants in China, using Russian gas that they cannot obtain at home. The Trump administration finds itself at odds with European officials who hold unrealistic expectations for the war perched in unstable minority governments, many of which trample on basic principles of democracy to suppress opposition. A large European majority wants peace, yet that desire is not translated into policy, in large measure because of those governments' subversion of democratic processes. This is strategically important to the United States precisely because European states cannot reform themselves if they are trapped in political crisis. Not surprisingly, this section of Trump's NSS has sparked a panicked outcry in Europe. European leaders, including former Swedish PM Carl Bildt, called it to the right of the extreme right, warning of alliance erosion. Analysts at the Center for Strategic and International Studies praise its pragmatism, but flag short-sightedness, predicting a lonelier, weaker U.S. China views reassurances on sovereignty positively, but remains wary of economic pressures. In the US, Democrats such as Representative Jason Crow deemed it catastrophic for alliances, for example, NATO. Let's just want to comment on that, Jim?
No, I'm welcoming your comments.
Well, obviously the replacement migration that has been happening is what's really destroying Europe. They want to blame, they've also been supporting the war in Ukraine. So, I guess that's why Trump, is saying, okay, here, you want to continue this. If this is what you want, then you continue this, or they've been in favor of it. Look, I'm just saying that the issues that exist right now, they're destroying the culture, they're destroying the monarchy is gone, basically. The politicians are all on the World Economic Forum payroll, probably, allegedly, probably, because they're following the exact destabilization plan. This is how they want to reformat certain regions, right? They want to bring in all these foreigners, destroy the culture of these European, look at, Ireland, you just name it, right? It's all happening. And they're also, you've probably seen reported, is this like what, 50 people a day are arrested in the UK for making comments that offend somebody on social media? So Trump is having issues. Trump is putting pressure on these European nations. The only way that that he can, probably at this point, with regard to freedom of speech, and with regard to, this is really very not just fascist, it's not just technocratic, but I mean, it's destroying their culture. So I know Trump is working with this is leverage. He's trying to create leverage in order to put pressure on these the leaders of the European countries, which they admitted they were, not happy about. So we'll see how this unfolds. But McGregor has said numerous times that this is, just a bloodbath. You need to end the killing over in Ukraine. This needs to end. It just seems, Jim, like and there's this massive energy that is responsible for all of these changes, and it's not the people, as this article outlined. The policies aren't, the will of the people's not being reflected in their policies. So, where are they getting there? We all know that they're taking their policy tips or edicts from Ursula von der Leyen, probably herself, right? And this is, they're tired of the European Union. I really do see that falling apart. I see the UN falling apart along with NATO. I think that's where this is going eventually. I'd like to hear your comments.
What is actually profound about this shift in policy is abandoning the role of the U.S. as the world's hegemon, controlling every aspect. It's abandoning the Wolfowitz policy that we should undermine any rival who competes with us for world power. It's accepting a multipolar political universe where the U.S. plays a more restricted regional role. It's really an America First shift, Louisa, and I applaud it. It's a profound change from the arrogance of America's past neocon agenda. I am impressed.
Yeah. I think Germany has to be very careful. I mean, Germany's been very much in favor of the war in Ukraine, and I think they're paying the price for it now. I mean, their economy is, they're in trouble. They're in big trouble, and
Nobody
so
suffered more from the Nord Stream destruction than Germany. Germany
yeah,
was going to be the economic powerhouse of the universe
yeah,
with Russian gas and their industrial power.
yeah,
And I guess the latest reports have it Ukraine actually disrupted the pipeline. But, Victoria Nuland was saying it wouldn't happen. the fake Biden was saying it wouldn't happen. They wouldn't allow it to happen. I still say it was U.S. off, even if they use Ukrainian drivers
Yeah.
to do it. But I mean, it was a huge blunder. And the idiocy of suggesting Russia would destroy its own pipeline. I mean, I cannot believe people who would be such gullible saps as to take that seriously for a millisecond.
Well, Jim, as you've pointed out in your analysis of false flag operations, I mean, these events always happen. These punctuating events happen to change policy, and so they obviously can't take, absolutely, that's what happens.
Yes,
So
yes, yes. Very good.
Let's keep
Yes.
going here. All right. Number 8. Oh boy. As you were saying before.
Israel wants to attack Iran again, and Bibi's coming here on the 29th to try to talk Trump into it. Netanyahu plans to brief Trump on possible new Iran strikes.
Yeah.
I'm hopeful it will not come to pass.
All right. You want me to
Israeli
read? Okay, go ahead.
officials have grown increasingly concerned that Iran is expanding production of its ballistic missile program, which was damaged by Israeli military strikes earlier this year, and are preparing to brief President Trump about options for attacking it again, according to a person with direct knowledge of the plans and 4 former U.S. officials briefed about it. Israeli officials are also concerned Iran is reconstituting nuclear enrichment sites the U.S. bombed in June, but they added the officials view Iran's efforts to rebuild facilities where they produce their ballistic missiles and to repair crippled air defense systems as more immediate concerns. Trump and Netanyahu are expected to meet later this month in Florida at the President Mar-a-Lago estate. At that meeting, as I say, on the 29th, the sources said Netanyahu is expected to make the case to Trump that Iran's expansion of its ballistic missile program poses a threat that could necessitate swift action. They said part of his argument is expected to be that Iran's actions present perils not only to Israel, but also to the broader region, including U.S. interests. The Israeli leader is expected to present Trump with options for the U.S. to join or assist in any new military operation, sources said. Asked Thursday about the December 29 meeting, Trump told reporters, "We haven't set it up formally, but he'd like to see me." Israeli officials have announced the date. The Israeli government declined to comment. The Iranian mission at the UN did not respond to a request. The International Atomic Energy Agency and Iranian government corroborated the U.S. government assessment that Operation Midnight Hammer totally obliterated Iran's nuclear capabilities. I don't believe that for a second.
Yeah.
White House spokesperson Anna Kelly said in a statement, as President Trump has said, if Iran pursued a nuclear weapon, that site would be attacked and would be wiped out before they even got close. Israel planned to brief Trump on and give him the option to join possible additional military strikes in Iran comes as the president is considering military strikes in Venezuela, which would open a new war front for the U.S. as he is touting his admin's bombing campaign against Iran's nuclear program and success negotiating a ceasefire between Israel and Hamas. In an address to the nation Wednesday, Trump said Americans, he's destroyed the Iranian nuclear threat, ended the war in Gaza, bringing for the first time in 3,000 years peace to the Middle East.
Yeah. We'll see. War drums. Iran says it's ready for war with U.S. after Saudi oil attacked accusations. Jim, did you want to go or?
No.
I'll give you a break. All right, Sky News. Iran has dismissed U.S. accusations it was behind drone attacks on Saudi Arabia's oil plants and warned it is ready for a full-fledged war. Iranian Foreign Ministry spokesman Abbas Mousavi said Washington has adopted a maximum pressure strategy against Iran, but because of its failure, the U.S. is leaning towards maximum lies. His remarks came as senior commander in Iran's Revolutionary Guard said America's military bases and aircraft carriers, which are stationed up to 1,200 miles around Iran, were within range of Iranian missiles. Amirali Hajizada was also quoted by the Tasnim news agency. I'm not as familiar with these terms as you are, Jim, so just bear with me. As saying that Iran has always been ready for a full-fledged war without mentioning Saturday's explosions in Saudi Arabia. Saturday's drone attacks, which Yemen's Iranian-backed Houthi rebels claim they carried out, have halted around half of Saudi oil supplies after hitting the kingdom's biggest processing facility and major oil field. They set off huge fires, leading to a suspension of production operations at the Aqwa facility and the Karas field, about 200 miles northeast of the Saudi Arabian capital of Riyadh. Well, did you want to make any comments on that, Jim?
Yeah. It's interesting. I mean, the attack on Saudi oil production and drama is going to be welcomed by Trump because, as I say, the price of oil has dropped to $55 a barrel, and American producers need to be at least 60 in order to make money.
Yeah.
So I think that, this is another compliment that may be a reason why Trump doesn't, in fact, invade Venezuela, which would be a calamity.
Yeah.
Honestly, I don't think the Israelis, I don't think even Netanyahu is going to persuade Trump to attack Iran again, whereas I've observed Iran is much stronger now, more robust, and already beat the hell out of Israel. So they're wanting to do it all over again is a colossal blunder.
Yeah. And I don't think the, public opinion is on Trump's side for any more, military action, anything significant. You know what I mean? I mean, right now he seems to be doing special operation moves to kind of take out, I think, what's being reported, what I'm seeing, what some of my sources are saying is that they're doing these special ops in order to end the corruption. End the corruption. Can you imagine that? Could you imagine our world without corruption? I mean, I don't know. Maybe we could call it heaven. I don't know. But yeah, what are you paying for?
At least a fantasy, I agree.
I know, right? What are you paying for price of a gallon of gas over by you, Jim, right now?
2.5, 2.49 right now.
2.49. Oh my God. Yeah, I'm at about 2.85. Yeah. So, but
premium
yeah
is $3.69, $1.20 higher. That's just absurd. I've never seen that before in my life.
That is quite a jump.
Like 10 cents difference. Now it's $1.20.
Yeah.
Give me a break. That's unreal.
Jim, I'm going to just let me see. I want to see escape. Yeah, I wanted to check in with our live chat viewers just to see. Oh my goodness, people are talking. I just wanted to take a look. I wanted to our live chat. I haven't really been in the chat much, and I want to see how everybody's doing. I wanted to say hello to everybody, and yeah, Dan is in the chat, and let's see who else is in there. Todd's in the chat. Hi, Karen. She's in New Zealand. Yep. Yeah, they're talking about the vaccines. They've been commenting as we've been talking, but I haven't been able to. He says he needs to get more popcorn. Go get popcorn. It's a popcorn break. Go ahead. I know, right?
Excellent.
Drill, baby, drill. Yeah, exactly. Okay, so let's go back. Let me get back to the PowerPoint, and then I'll go into yes, I can do it from here. Hold on. Yeah, but hold on a second. There we go. I have to go in here first and then do it to screen share it first. Okay, let's go back here. Present view.
You're going down to story 6, I think, Rob Reiner.
Yeah. No, sorry, it was just the setting. Just give me a second to get acclimated to this again. Hold on. Wait.
I think we're up to number 6.
Yeah. Let's see. I wanted it to play from current slide, but then we lost that. So let me just go here, Iran. Yeah, here we go. Here we go. Okay. Okay. Just bear with me for a second. Make sure I
Sure.
get that done. Okay. And now I can.
Yeah, and go full screen or
Yeah,
slideshow.
I will. I have to tell you, I need bifocals
Sexy never
myself. Hold
stops.
on a second. Play from current slide. Yeah, I had pressed the wrong button. Sorry. Yeah, this was interesting, huh, Jim?
Well,
Um,
I want to warn everyone.
yeah.
There's some very unpleasant aspects of what you're going to learn here
Mm,
that you probably have not heard before.
mm,
And I
mm,
want to brace yourself. And this is
mm.
definitely R-rated.
Okay,
Okay.
well, so
I'm
there's
just
a
warning
warning.
you,
Yeah,
straight
no,
up.
it's a good. No, it's fair enough, Jim. There's a warning if you are sensitive to either description or to images. Uh, please do
Well,
not watch this segment. So that's all we
yeah,
can
this
do.
is pretty grim. Go right
Yeah.
ahead. Go right
Okay.
ahead.
All right.
Reiner and his wife found dead in their home from apparent stab wounds. Yes, apparently they had, I don't know, I've heard two different reports that they were stabbed again and again and again, and actually that they had their throat slit.
Mm,
There's a call here. The strange death of Rob Reiner and his connection to Hollywood satanic ritual abuse. That's the part's going to be grim.
yeah.
Who is Nick, son of Rob? Michelle Reimer, booked for murder and parents' death. The younger Reiner has long struggled with mental illness and addiction and collaborated with his father on the semi-autobiographical movie Being Charlie. Next. Nick is being held without bail. I can't quite read the text. Can you pick it up?
Yeah, yeah, the screen share thing is in front of it, blocking it. He was due to be arraigned on Tuesday morning, but his lawyer, Alan Jackson, told reporters that he had not been medically cleared for transport to the courthouse. The Reiners have two other children together, Jake, 34, and Rami, 28. Rob Reiner also has a daughter, Tracy, 61, from his first marriage to director Penny Marshall. The director was 78 and his wife was 70. Our hearts go out to the family and friends of the Reiners, McDonnell said. A tragic incident. Rob and Nick Reiner reportedly argued during a party hosted by Conan O'Brien on Saturday evening, where Nick had been acting strangely, according to family friends who spoke to the Los Angeles Times. The same sources said that Nick had been living in a guest house on his parents' property and that his mother had become increasingly concerned about his mental health in recent weeks.
Now, here's what I want to brace you for.
Yeah.
It's a roast for Rob in 2000. When you hear what Al Franken has to say, you are going to be astonished, shocked, distressed, horrified.
Yeah.
And I tell you, Al Franken could not have said any of this without clearing it previously from Rob, who doesn't raise any protest to what he has to say. So listen to this, but it's
Yeah.
grim.
Yeah.
This is grim.
I just want to say I've been having just a great time. Everybody's been really, really funny. I just don't want people to get the wrong idea that this is not really, Rob's favorite style of humor. What he really enjoys is what I do, which is far more substantive. But I have to tell you that Rob has devoted himself to seeing the kids from birth to age 3 get the kind of nurturing, intellectual stimulation, love, really, that will make them grow up to be a fully functional, happy person, unlike, say, Brett. And it's a great thing. Most people don't know where this comes from. And Rob doesn't like to talk about it because he's kind of a modest guy. But it comes out of his own personal experience. See, as a baby, Rob was routinely beaten by his father, Carl. Rob believes that this early physical abuse had a profound effect on him as an adult and led to the horrible failure of Ghosts of Mississippi.
I'm going to go for North on that one. Just curious.
Exactly. What possibly could explain North?
I helped him out.
On a typical night, Carl would slip into Rob's bed,
Jesus.
roll him over, swab him down, and say something like, "I'm thinking about hiring Maury Amsterdam to play Buddy Sorrell. What do you think?" Well, the success of the Dick Van Dyke Show changed things dramatically. Carl started inviting many of his famous friends to son. And that list includes some of the greats in comedy. Paul Lynde. Dom DeLuise. Rip Taylor. Danny Kaye. Charles Nelson Riley and Rock Hudson, whom I frankly don't think was that funny. Rob, I love you like a brother.
Wait a minute. Don't love me like a brother.
No, and all kidding aside, it's been a great evening, and thank you for doing so much to make sure that no other kid ends up like you.
Thank you, Al.
That's so disturbing that all these comedians are listed as, raping his son, and they're laughing about it.
I think it's got to be true, Louise. I think it's got to be true.
Well,
You went the wrong way on this slide.
well, this just doesn't go by itself sometimes. The problem is, if it's true that his son did this, it is that kind of abuse that, like, who kills their parents? And it's their abused kids kill their parents. That's what happened, unfortunately, and I'm not
Yes.
saying it's true, but I'm not saying that he did it. I'm just saying that, what do you think, Jim?
Could his son have been subjected to the kind of abuse to which Rob was subjected by Carl?
Yeah. Yeah.
Very
Exactly.
serious. Now, Steve, the Nation offers an alternative take, suggesting that he might have solved JFK and that could be the explanation for his death,
Mm.
which I rebutted here in an article. You'll see here in a
Mhm.
new article. State of the Nation has presented the theory that Rob Miner might have been taken out, assassinated himself because of his research on the death of JFK, which he was going to publish in a forthcoming book. According to the author, Rob had 3 strikes against him, which may have contributed to his death. And this is quoting, of course. As you will see, Rob Meathead Reiner had 5 huge strikes against him as 2025 evolved to its bitter end. First, Rob made the most egregious mistake this year of taking the assassination of President John F. Kennedy to a whole new level in the public domain. C, Rob Reiner was assassinated right after a major book contract was signed following a hugely successful podcast about JFK assassination truth. Secondly, ultra-liberal Rob Reiner took an unexpected position of great sympathy toward the brutal assassination of Charlie Kirk. C, Rob Reiner said he felt absolute horror watching Charlie Kirk's assassination in one of his final interviews. Prior to leaving the Khazarian reservation via those 2 little endeavors, Rob had previously bashed hard the neocon Zionist imperial project known as the Iraq War. see how Rob Reiner, political activist, up to shock and awe, his devastating film about the U.S. invasion of Iraq. My comments. Problems with this argument include one, everyone knows the invasion of Iraq was opportunistic and unwarranted, so there's nothing new here to threaten his life. Second, contrary to popular opinion, Charlie was not assassinated but faked his death, probably to escape a real assassination. And third, his research on JFK was amateurish and wrong.
Whoa, whoa.
I elaborate on that article. There's a whole lot there.
But that's all there was for this slide, though, right? There wasn't an.
It was that short. Yeah,
Yeah, it was
because
very short. Yeah.
that segment of Al Franken was the crux.
Yeah.
I
But
think we
that's
need
interesting, though, what you're saying about, right, because that was the story was about, I mean, actually you just opened a can of worms, but it's in the report, though, Charlie Kirk's death. So we'll get to that because they made this, you were reading your comments were that your opinion was that this was a faked assassination. So that's later on in the story that in this.
Right. Now, what we got with his work on JFK,
Yeah.
he's espousing that it was a mafia hit, that there were 4 mafia shooters. Well, I've gone through the whole bit and identified all the shooters. 7, there were actually 8 in Dealey Plaza. I've identified 7 of the 8. And they had sponsors, but from Reiner's point of view, the sponsors were like bigger monsters, like Sam Giancana had his hitman stuff. I mean, this is just not true. I've identified the shooters. They had sponsors, but there was a CIA shooter, there was a Joint Chief shooter, there was an anti-Castro shooter, there was an LBJ shooter, there was an anti-Castro Cuban shooter, there was an Israeli shooter, there was a Fed shooter, there was a Texas oilman shooter. It was a very different kind of conspiracy. So Rob's position here doesn't amount to anything. Now, I thought it was very interesting that as sophisticated a journalist, State of the Nation, would be taken in, but there it is. So I've submitted my piece as a rebuttal.
Yeah.
And I have reason to believe they are going to publish it. So
Right, but I mean, your evidence doesn't support Rob Reiner whatsoever, so that couldn't really be a motive for his murder. So we're kind of back to what do you think the motive is?
Oh, I think it was the son retaliating against the father for abuse.
Yeah, abuse.
Oh, it's the son did it. I don't have any doubt. Nick did it. He stabbed him to death. Whether it was in their throat or more, I don't know the details yet. I guess we have the court. Maybe some people know, but
I mean, the Menendez brothers, that whole case there too, it's kind of like it's very prevalent in Hollywood, though, unfortunately. Anyone who's really involved in higher up decisions and stuff. And you see this coming out. I mean, it's coming out more and more that, and the kids, don't subscribe to that. And, yeah. Well, I'll tell you, well, I guess we'll learn more about that as information comes out.
Or go to my blog if you want to follow it up. It's right there on my blog.
Yeah. So now we're getting into some more conspiracy issues here.
Right.
Go for it, Jim.
Bondi Beach was an Israeli psyop. There isn't really any room for doubt about it once you look at it, though I do believe some people may in fact have been killed to make it more realistic.
Right.
Here we have death toll climbed to 12 in Bondi Beach terror attack. Homemade bomb uncovered by cops after 2 gunmen opened fire on innocent beachgoers during Jewish festival. See, it had to be Hanukkah. It had to be the 14th of December, the same day as Sandy Hook. And then we have this Brown shooting going on also, which turns out to be staged as well. Now, here's Dr. Catherine Horton, who did a brilliant critique right off the bat.
Oh, yeah, I interviewed her.
Looks like an entirely staged false flag off by Australian intel. Note how the granddad in the white shirt doesn't duck, even though gunman fires rounds in his direction. This isn't some footage they have. I mean, how often do you have a journalist right there to film the shooting? And he didn't duck because he knew they were firing blanks. Guy wrestles rifle from the supposed terrorist, doesn't pop a single cap into the terrorist, is totally unafraid that terrorists might pull a handgun, as shown on BBC. One of the prominent photos being circulated shows a symbol of the Knoll Sinai, camera on the cell phone, symbol of talking to handlers, talking on the phone. The crown, see crest on guy's sweater, and the symbol of omerta, vow of silence, with a woman holding her hand over her mouth, laying out the covert program. Note that Australian police cars are plastered with Masonic tiling checkers, in case you're wondering how they coordinate all this.
Yeah.
Yes, yes. And here you get the guy. Get this as a shooter, the Sydney attacker, Naveen Akam, a Druze Syrian who served in the Israeli military.
Really?
Identity confirmed by Australian authorities. He's not Muslim, previously deployed in Gaza. Despite the media spin that drew this out, will it be silenced or exposed? This guy was IDF. They just orchestrate. Meanwhile, Arsen Ostrovsky is a smoking gun of a Mossad psyop. In the wake of the alleged December 14, 2025 shooting at a Hanukkah celebration at Sydney's Bondi Beach, a growing number of people on social media are raising serious doubts about the official narrative. Prominent pro-Israeli propagandist and human rights lawyer Arsen Ostrovsky, who heads the Sydney office of the Australian Israel and Jewish Affairs Council and had only returned to Australia 2 weeks prior, was reportedly grazed by a bullet in the head. He immediately took out his cell phone to put out a selfie of him. Look at that. Don't ever tell me Islam is a religion of peace, a bloodhead speech for itself. I said, let me get a selfie real quick. Yeah, before the fake blood washes off.
Right,
So
right, exactly.
Keep going. Yeah,
I mean,
you know how to do this. You know how to do this. Shortly after this suggested near fatal injury, Ostrovsky was also filmed and interviewed with bandage on his head, blood still on his face, but alert enough to give interviews, describing the scene as absolute massacre. What kind of horrible medic wouldn't clean a wound before applying a dressing? And if the injury was so bad he needed to spend days in the hospital, why wasn't he rushed there immediately? Days later, from his hospital bed, he shared cheerful images, one eating traditional Hanukkah sufgiyat donuts with visitors, including Israel's diaspora minister. Another caption, my wife came to visit me, smiling broadly while munching on more treats. How does someone shot in the head recover so quickly? Photos show initial blood and bandage, but later images revealed no visible scar or lasting damage, much like conspiracy theories surrounding other high-profile shootings like that of Donald Trump at Butler, where injuries seemed to heal overnight. Ostrovsky's rapid return to posting defiant messages, lighting candles, and engaging publicly has fueled suspicion his role was exaggerated or staged. Look at the next. When he didn't know he was being photographed, the bandage was suddenly gone. No wound, no marks, nothing.
Not even a scab.
We deserve all of this. We are too retarded. We are being played.
Oh, man. You're not kidding.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Now play this.
Okay.
Jimmy Dore is so damn good. Play
Congratulations to Australia. You fell for the false flag. I mean, your government did. And now you're paying the price for it. Even more freedoms are taken away from you. And now you're going to be accused of thought crimes because of that false flag. It worked perfectly. Why do you think Israel does false flags? They know how to do them. They always have a purpose, and they'd always serve their purpose.
Jimmy Dore.
So you remember how we said the Australian shooting at that Hanukkah festival on Bondi Beach? They said it was done by an ISIS shooter, which I explained to you that ISIS is actually working with Al-Qaeda, working with Israel, working with the Mossad, working with the United States. They're all in bed together. Trump just welcomed the head Al-Qaeda guy in Syria to the White House. ISIS, when their fighters would get wounded in Syria, they'd get treated in Israel. So they're all working together. And so when that happened, I'm like, oh, this is a false flag. This has been sponsored by Israel. And what is it to do? It's to try to get people to crack down, meaning Western countries, to crack down on free speech because they've lost the narrative and they're scrambling. They're buying social media platforms because people are telling the truth about Israel. They bought TikTok. They bought 1/6 of the American media so they can try to get back control of the narrative about Israel and how people are turning on them. And then now they're doing false flags in Australia so they can pressure governments to crack down on free speech because that's the only thing they have left. They have to crack down on free speech and control the narrative. And so here it happened. It already happened. So here is Israel finally taking Australia's freedom away. Australia is going to implement hate speech laws following the Bondi false flag. The government will also create a blacklist of organizations who promote speech Israel doesn't like. False flag success.
Yeah,
talk about a kangaroo court.
Okay.
You get stop.
Am I
Yeah,
right?
that's interesting though. I mean, I was just talking.
Yeah,
Sorry, Jim, go ahead.
No, I want yours.
Yeah, I mean, some people were saying that this was they selected Bondi Beach because of Pam Bondi because of actions that she's taking. There's a big segment, I guess, in the MAGA movement, I suppose, that feel like Trump is supposed to be fighting the deep state and so Pam Bondi supposedly doing investigations on some, the trafficking and money laundering and all kinds of things that are supposed to be a part of why, I'm just saying this is like some in the grapevine, right? On an X, if you want to know. There's a lot a big echo chamber there, but yeah.
The white hat theory.
Yeah, the white hat theory, exactly.
I wish it had more substance. We can go to our next story because
Congratulations.
Yeah.
Brown shooting was also fake. Surprise, surprise.
Yeah.
Brown and Bondi shooting beyond absurd. You'll ask for it, so here you go. Check to watch video. This one took me hours to research and compile. Never any AI here, just hard work and human intelligence. This is Peggy Hall. Very good. All my own original research, images, and links, except for the short video at the end from a French creator on Instagram. And yes, it's well worth it.
Is this a link here? Is this a live video?
Oh, no, this doesn't apply. Keep going.
Okay.
Before I dive in, take a look at these images of a witness in the Brown fake shooting. We are told this student, whose home is in California, just went through a harrowing life and death situation. Just look at the trauma in her eyes. She's visibly shaken. She's devastated. She can barely keep it together. How dare the media subject this poor young woman in recounting her fake scripted story on national media? No wonder she's so worried and can barely remember her lines. Give her a break. Acting is hard. And as you can see, the entire CBS interview here, her portion starts midway through. In other words, she's totally cheerful. There's no trauma. There's no indication she's been subjected to any unusual event. She's a very poor crisis actress. Next slide.
Yeah, I mean, look at her smile. Her whole face is smiling. And even the eyes, everything. It's like, it's just so fake. Yeah.
Yeah. You might say, well, Peggy, the media is so eager to keep the story going, they'll provide their own witnesses. It doesn't mean events didn't happen. This is possible. I mean, this witness, like the dozens and dozens I've exposed in previous events, is obviously coached. How did the media find this person? Who arranged the interview? Did the distraught witness cause the news channel? It doesn't add up, but then these stories never do. More likely, the entire thing is staged, meaning no deaths. Not that I wouldn't put it past the powers that shouldn't be to kill people in order to further their evil agendas, but in most cases, these incidents look manufactured. The sad thing is, many people would not even realize this girl's reaction, emotion, and facial expression are completely inappropriate for the situation at hand. For years, The media has bombarded the general public with laughing, smiling, dry-eyed witnesses and victims and loved ones, so that some people no longer even realize what they are seeing are actors performing a role and performing it badly too. I've done many videos showing the smiling fake witnesses.
Mm.
Next.
Yeah. Oh God, this was
And then Robbie Parker came
Mm.
out, all jocular, smiling, then paused, looked up, saw the press, hyperventilated to get in character, and then began talking about the loss of his daughter the day before, but had the president in mind to mention her donation website. I mean, come on, man. Is this the face, expression, words, and demeanor of someone who just went through a harrowing life or death experience? I'm far more upset and shaken. Just telling my husband about a horrible driver who got me off in traffic. I don't even really need to go any further into this story to conclude that yet again the media presented as more fake, phony, fraudulent story designed to tear our heartstrings and make you call for increased gun control and increased surveillance. And then this wonderful, everyone says it'll never be me. Brown University student on surviving not one, but two mass shootings.
Oh, man.
Because she was also at Parkland.
Oh,
because
my
that's
God.
exactly how you look after the devastating, dramatic experience. Watch the video news clip here. Her words do not match her expression. She's demonstrating duper's delight. Well, Peggy, everybody experiences trauma differently. Yes, they do. But Mia has not experienced trauma at all. She looks like she can't wait to cash in another big fat paycheck.
Oh, man, Jim. The
Look
truth
at
hurts.
Yeah, no. Look at this last slide here. A check. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Look at that.
In true prepared talking point style, Mia says, gun violence doesn't care if you've already been shot before, and it doesn't care what community you're in. It's an epidemic that touches every single community. Mia now feels a mixture of fear, confusion, and anger. Americans, she says, shouldn't accept mass shootings as a fact of life.
Ooh.
Yes, says Peggy. That's exactly how a college student speaks. Perfectly scripted to push a gun control agenda. Yet because you know how violent guns are, just like cars that have been getting into crashes. It's not about reckless drivers. It's about reckless cars.
Yeah.
And then
look. Yeah. Just look how traumatized she is. Look at that face. Smiling, happy.
And the next slide,
Jim, do they make it obvious like that, or are they actually like are they just they're just mimicking us, or they're not mimicking? What's the word I'm saying?
They're just sloppy and careless because they can get away with it.
Yeah.
Let's make a list and check it twice, and let me say this is an excellent list. Incident occurs near holiday, check. Terror-induced media coverage, check. Strange names of victims, check. Connection to prior mass events, check. Gun control narrative push, check. Suspicious officials, mayor, university president, etc., check. Unbelievable witnesses, check. GoFundMe's in place, check. I just want to know where I can get my PSYOP Strong t-shirt.
PSYOP Strong. Yeah, mocking. That's the word I was looking for. They're mocking us by having them come on and literally laugh, smiling and happy right in our faces, right? I like the checklist, Jim. Very nice touch.
Excellent.
Yeah. Now this is number 4 story of 2025.
Epstein files unredacted.
Right. Whoa.
Get this. This is Hal Turner. Redacted Epstein files can be instantly unredacted.
Right. There's a software for that. Yeah.
With the U.S. Department of Justice having released the Epstein files, albeit in heavily redacted form, some enterprising internet sleuths found a simple way to unredact them. Yes, it's real. The DOJ released Epstein files on December 19th, with some redactions done poorly, black bars over text without removing the underlying data, allowing copy paste to reveal it. This is confirmed on Reddit, TikTok, and Threads. It's gaining attention on social media, but mainstream outlets are focusing more on the releases than on the flaw. The flaw allows readers to see what government did not want people to see. I tried it, it works.
Yeah.
After highlighting the redacted text,
Mm-hmm.
checking copy, then opening either Notepad or Word doc and clicking paste,
Mm-hmm.
turn the next. These are the paragraphs:
Yeah.
203, 204, 205, 203. Defendants also attempted to conceal the criminal sex trafficking and abuse conduct by paying large sums of money to participant witnesses, including by paying for their attorney fees and case costs in litigation related to this conduct. 204.
Mm-hmm.
Epstein also threatened harm to victims and helped release damaging stories about them to damage their credibility when they try to go public with their stories of being trafficked and sexually abused. 205. Epstein also instructed one or more Epstein enterprise participant witnesses to destroy evidence relevant to ongoing court proceedings involving defendants' criminal sex trafficking and abuse conduct.
Mm.
I cannot help but wonder if it was intentional. It gives the impression to the guilty that they are protected, but they left a method to unredact it, knowing the public would figure it out. This revelation ought to keep thousands of people very busy over the Christmas holidays.
Exactly.
In very many cases, not all, the public can now see what the government didn't want us to see about the Epstein case. This is sensational. And Louisa, they got 1 million more pages they were going to release.
I know, but this reminds me of, how they operate. When they want to discredit somebody, they try to go after them and destroy them, which is what they're doing to you legally over the Sandy Hook issue. Because they, can you imagine, folks, that everybody, there's a lot of people that really don't understand these false flags, and they really don't get it. And to think that our own government was really behind this to push policy change. It's the only way to push policy change and force us to give up certain rights in exchange for security or convenience. That's still more that's coming. But Jim, that this is what they do. When they want to silence you, they go after you to discredit you, destroy you financially, lawfare. This is how they work. And this is evidence of it. I mean, this shows that he was very connected. He was very wealthy. He was in charge of doing many operations, and here he is talking about threatening the people if they exposed it. So this is just how they operate.
That's right. That's exactly right. I think there's another slide or two to this. Oh, here it is. Go ahead, check it. Click this one.
Tonight is going to be a fun stream. I've been snooping on all these billionaires, assholes, all these Epstein friends, all these shitheads. And if you haven't seen the files already, I'm going to show you a way better place to find them. You've probably already seen a lot of you have probably already seen this resource. But if you don't know, the way that they give you these drops are in these like zip files with a bunch of different folders. And it's really hard to access the files the way they give them to you. So some legend on X, I don't have his profile up anymore, but a fucking legend made epstein-files-browser.forsell.app. I'm gonna find his page so we can give him a proper shout out. I saved it so it won't take me long, because someone doing this kind of the Lord's work here needs a proper shout out. Reese Sullivan on X, doing the Lord's work, giving the files to the people. So Reese Sullivan, give this man a follow, support his work. RHYSSULLIVAN, and he made this viewer for us that puts all the files in one place that's nice and scrollable. Most of them are just crime scene footage, so to speak, from the island. A lot of naked statues, a lot of naked paintings, a lot of really fucked up pictures, a lot of blacked out CSAM I'm going to be kind of careful to try to just scroll right past all that, and we're going to get down to the people. And but you can kind of get the sense for what it is, and then you get into this. It's, I think in the download, it's the final file. It's file number 7, I believe it is where all the people are. And it starts here, and it's got photos like this, and you'll see black boxes on a lot of the photos. And we don't have a lot of information here. We don't have a lot of information on exactly what is what, but based on not having a lot of information, I'm led to assume that the black boxes are the faces of victims and minors. Because they're not blacking out the faces of all the pedos and the perps and the friends and the billionaires and the scientists and the bankers and everybody else. They're not blacking out the faces of overage women that are the wives of
you and I can talk
high-profile
about
individuals.
It's not.
They're not blacking out the face of Ghislaine. So it leads me to assume that when you see a blacked out face in a photo, that's probably a victim. Not necessarily, but probably. And yes, this photo gives us very bad vibes.
Look how deep it's getting, Louise.
Those look like very young bodies of girls that were sitting there.
Oh yes,
blocked out.
Oh, yeah,
very young. Yeah.
Oh yes.
You want me to keep playing, Jim?
No, that's enough.
That's enough.
Go to our next.
Quite interesting. Yeah, quite interesting there. Okay, hold on. Let's go to the next slide.
Tonight is going to be a fun.
Oh, this is story number 3 of 2025.
Trump, our first Jewish president. We got it straight from the great one, Mark Levin. Calls Trump our first Jewish president. This is from The Hill. Go to the next. Conservative radio talk show host Mark Levin called President Trump the nation's first Jewish president during a Hanukkah party at the White House on Wednesday. It's an honor to be here with the first Jewish president of the United States, Levin said, and if he isn't, he should be. Trump smiled in response to the reference. He actually said it's true. Trump, according to this story, which is wrong, is not Jewish, though his son-in-law, Jared Kushner, is Jewish. Trump's daughter, Ivanka, converted to Jewish faith after marrying Kushner. There have been no Jewish presidents in U.S. history, though 2 prominent Democrat presidential candidates, Bernie Sanders of Vermont and Mayor Michael Bloomberg, are Jewish. Trump has issued a number of ardently pro-Israel policies since becoming president, and on Wednesday signed an executive order to define Jewish people as an ethnic group rather than just a religious one, in a bid the White House says will combat anti-Semitism. We'll take a look at the next. Yeah. Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, yeah, let me put it.
Thank you. We have a man, I have to take a little time. Because every Saturday night, used to be Sunday, then he did so well that they put him on Saturday too, Saturday night. Do you know who I'm talking about? Because there's only one has Saturday and Sunday. And Saturday is considered Death Valley, but it's not death because of ratings. Nobody gets good ratings. Although actually my daughter-in-law is doing well, and you always did well. The great one, Mark Levin. And much more importantly, his much more brilliant wife. Where are you? There you are. Would you come on up here, both of you? Get up here. Get up here. Look, every Saturday, every Sunday, I'm forced to watch television to listen to this guy talk about how frickin' great I am. Because he does like Trump. There's no question about it. Come on up here, Mark. Get up here. Come on up. What a beautiful couple. Did you get lucky? If you weren't a genius, you wouldn't have a wife like this. Mark, say a couple of words. Come here, darling.
Whoa.
And these people do like Israel.
Hold on. And he loves Israel too.
It's true.
2 seconds. Just 2 seconds. 6 years ago, I was up here. And I said, this is our first Jewish president.
It's true.
Now he's the first Jewish president to serve 2 not consecutive presidencies. We thank you
That's
for
right.
everything.
That's right. Bad things happened on the second one. Namely, the election was rigged. And we found out, and you see that happening. But
And you are the greatest president.
Thank you very much.
And God bless you. I miss you. I miss you.
You know, he did say it's true.
Yeah.
I heard him say it's true.
That's right. Now keep going. Wait till you see the next. Louisa, we got more here. No. Yeah. Slide
we have
after
a
this.
man. I have to take a little
That's the
time.
one we just watched. Yeah.
Because every Saturday night used to be.
Here, this is from True News Israel Today, published on May 22nd, 2019. Donald Trump converted to Judaism 2 years ago, according to a White House official. Donald Trump converted to Judaism 2 years ago. That would be 2017, according to a White House official. So go to the next. Here, watch this. Watch this.
Donald Trump converted to Judaism 2 years ago, according to White House official. There it is. That's his blog. He said, President Donald Trump converted to Judaism 2 years ago and joined Chabad Lubavitch Synagogue in New York City, according to a high-level White House official. Mr. Goldberg says the story has allegedly been held by CNN's editors for months, but is due to be released within the next few days. David Elias Goldberg, a fellow at the Jewish Center of Anti-Semitic Study, has also interviewed the White House source. According to the source, Trump was pushed by his daughter Ivanka and son-in-law Jared Kushner to join the faith. At first, Trump resisted, stating it would threaten his base of evangelical Christian voters. However, he had a change of heart and officially converted in early 2017. The ceremony was held in private and closely guarded for nearly 2 years. It appears the White House is prepared to slowly release this information, and by summer, it is expected Trump will fully address his new faith in an evening televised news conference. He is clearly the most pro-Israel president in the history of America. He's given Israel every single thing that they've wanted, and he's about to give them war with Iran. And so has he converted? So I want to show you one more article. This is, let me see if I can.
This is the Times of Israel.
Yeah, the Times of Israel. This was published March 22nd, 2019. This is the Times of Israel. Trump, the first Jewish president of the United States.
Now, that's not us saying that. That's Times of Israel. Times of what nation? Israel.
So the people in Israel, that's an English-speaking newspaper in Israel, and that's what they read, that Donald Trump is the first Jewish president of the United States.
And how did they qualify that, Rick?
They gave a list of things that he did for Israel.
First of one, of course, moving the embassy to Jerusalem.
That's right.
That was a big deal.
Then recognizing Israeli sovereignty over the Golan Heights. He's the first sitting U.S. president to visit the Western Wall. They gave him credit for defeating ISIS. They gave him credit for rebuking the United Nations for when the UN criticized Israel. They credit him with closing the Palestinian office in Washington, D.C. And they said these things, what is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, these 6 things qualify Donald Trump to be named the first Jewish president of the United States.
And that's what the Times of Israel said.
Again, that was not David Duke's newsletter.
Right.
It's a Jewish-owned newspaper. And they're proclaiming Donald Trump to be the first Jewish president of the United States. So now when you look at this David Elias Goldberg saying that a White House insider told him that President Trump converted to Judaism 2 years ago.
Suddenly it doesn't sound so crazy, does it?
No, it's not too crazy. And that CNN knows about it, and CNN is sitting on the story. and we'll be releasing it at some point.
It was history's darkest hour. Millions of innocent, wonderful, and beautiful lives. Men, women.
That's good.
Okay.
Wonderful story.
Well, I did hear that as well. I heard that back in 2017. I find it hard to believe that his daughter would have that much influence on him in terms of converting at his age.
Oh, Louisa, they have a very special relationship.
Yeah, they do, don't they?
A whole lot going on there.
Yeah.
And very receptive to her suggestions.
Mm.
I don't have the least doubt about it. He converted. He's got all these awards. Have you ever seen his treasure trove of Tree of Life awards? These are awards that are historically only given to Jews. He's got a closet full of them.
Yeah, and of course, well, the Tree of Life, but the crown too. The crown, yeah.
Tons
I
of them.
know. Yeah, I know. It's their new David, right? So, well,
It's a fact. My opinion, it's a fact.
right. Well, I don't know why he doesn't just, come right out and tell people. I mean, I think he knows. I mean, we know why. We know why.
I think he's just afraid to. He doesn't know how it would go down.
Mm. I wonder what happened with MAGA. Right?
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, let's move along here. We're getting there. We're down to number 2.
2 stories that go.
Number 2. Yep. Here we go.
Burke's shooting was staged. I know this will come as a shock to some. Believe me, I've done the job on this. I've done the research. Candace watched the footage of the camera behind Charlie. Now, if he were shot, as had been described, there would have been blood everywhere. But there is no blood. There is no blood. That means he wasn't shot. So how did they do it?
Yeah.
Next slide. Yeah. Here you see what seemed to be blood, described here as obvious CGI. Now, here's some of the signs. The wound on his neck moves around. Impossible if it were a real wound. The blood doesn't sink into his shirt, and at one point it actually backs up. This is because he got a layer of this blood added to his shirt. It was not a real shooting. Next slide.
Ooh, interesting, Jim.
Oh, yes. And here you can even see in some of the footage, there's none of that blood is there when it should be. It should have been there. It was supposed to be there, but now it's not there. So it can be there and not there. It can be there and not there when it was added as a CGI and was never on his shirt.
Interesting.
We have Charlie being taken to the SUV. Claude, there's no blood, no drops of blood, no nothing. They started disassembling what was supposed to be a crime scene immediately. They handle it totally differently than if it had been real.
Oh, yeah, absolutely, Jim. You want me to read this?
Please,
I'll give you a break. Yeah, I'll give you a little break. Okay, Vivian Lee Yeah.
A brilliant colleague, Vivian Lee, analyzed what happened.
Okay. Vivian Lee posted this comment at 153 News, then edited some of her comments there to reflect the full scenario. So how did they do this thing? The hand signs triggered the remote activation of the squib. They had the squib activated on signal and then break and produce a fake wound with some blood. There were people taking cell phone footage in the immediate proximity, but no one outside the operation was allowed to get that close. Then they sent their cell phone footage to the AI guy who added more blood and accidentally moved his ring to his little finger. Yeah, I saw that. They didn't notice the ring problem and sent the doctored footage to the news networks who made sure the world saw it. That way, anyone in the crowd would have seen the phase 1 squib event so as to think it was real, and the phase 2 AI doctored footage was broadcast far and wide. Definitely a Hollywood Mossad style operation. The commotion and arrest of George Zinn character was part of the operation. It was done to direct our attention away from the shooting and toward the fake suspect to give the AI guys time to doctor the footage so it could be sent out to the media for wide distribution. Once the doctored footage was ready to go, the news no longer focused on the fake suspect. All attention moved to the fake shooting footage. The hand signs. First, Charlie touched his nose to indicate that he was ready to start. Then the guy in the white, Frank Turek, touched the bill of his hat and then the top lip. And that guy in the black put out his right arm and then touched it above his elbow with his left hand. This was a signal to the guy in the brown shirt in the front row of the audience to activate the squib. What's a squib, Jim? Just for our audience, do you know what that is?
That's the blast of air or blood.
Okay. Right after the guy in the black made his arm hand signal, the guy in the brown put out his left arm and touched it above the elbow with his right hand. The remote was in the left sleeve of the guy in the brown. When he touched his arm, he activated the squib. Then he ducked down a little and focused his attention on Charlie. When he saw that the mission had been accomplished, he gave a smile of satisfaction and then took off. They then grabbed Charlie and carted him off to a waiting SUV. No putting him on the ground, no towel or fabric pressed to the wound to stop the bleeding, no EMTs, no ambulance, no medical equipment, no stretcher, and no blood as the guys carried Charlie to the van by his arms and legs. No blood anywhere. Fake. Well,
Yep.
let's talk about
Let me
this
just
because
add-
sorry, I didn't want to blow. I
No,
didn't
no,
want
no.
to spoil
We're good.
spoil that one.
Let me just add. No problem at all. Listen, Christopher Key and I did a show about this, the Charlie Kirk assassination hoax exposed. And I just recommend everyone look at it. Guess what? We even discovered footage, and believe it or not, it was played on Good Morning America with George Stephanopoulos. We see the crowd running away from the tent. But what they didn't notice when they played it is the crowd was only about a quarter of the size of the crowd there, and the tent was empty. They played a rehearsal video of the crowd running away from the tent. Louisa, a rehearsal video went on national TV, and they didn't even realize there's no Charlie, no Wades, no nothing going on inside the tent. It was just a rehearsal. Stunning. So you wanna look at this. It's all documented in my presentation. Charlie Kirk assassination hoax exposed with Christopher Key.
All right, there was a lot of problems with what happened there. I mean, we certainly saw the one guy who was there describing what he saw, and he was immediately silenced by a group of other people who were there. I don't know if you saw that video, but that was circulating. That was removed immediately as well. But you know what it reminded me of, Jim, was remember this was back in 2017 during the Las Vegas shooting. Remember how the shots of the guns were on the through the PA system?
Yeah, of course they were.
It kind of reminded me of that, like that they were doing that again, where they were taking recordings of firings and presenting them as actual shootings.
Well, there are all kinds of disproofs, including you got the alleged gunman running across the roof and his shadow disappears. And then he's supposed to have the steel barrel in his pants and he jumps down. It would have stuck through his gut. He would have probably killed himself. The whole thing is phony from beginning to end. And get this, think about it.
Yeah.
It's a practice of the networks. They don't play gory footage. Well, with Charlie Kirk, they played it everywhere.
Yeah.
This blood coming out. And as I say, if you look, you see the wound moves. The mic on his shirt moves around. The letters on his shirt come and go and disappear. The ring, as you observe, goes from his ring finger to his little finger. All kinds of stuff they didn't notice. Totally fake.
Very
totally
CGI.
fake.
Well, what do you think of Candace Owens, with this whole thing?
Well, Candace is good, but she doesn't realize Charlie faked his death or knows it but wants to protect Charlie by not acknowledging it. It's one or the other. I'm a huge fan of Candace.
Yeah.
But
why do you think they did this though? What do you think the reason was? To protect him because he was
Charlie had wandered off the Zionist reservation. He had told Candace, Tucker, Clayton, that he could no longer carry the heavy water. He didn't support the genocide. He thought October 7th was fishy. He didn't like Netanyahu anymore. So Bibi offered him 150 mil to stay, silver or lead. So he faked his assassination to avoid a real one. That's
Yeah.
what's happened.
Well,
And
you
then
know
they
that.
elevated this fraudulent, very pathetic actress, Erica Kirk, to
Gosh.
run it as a full-blown Zionist turning point operation, but she's falling flat. She is mucking up
Oh,
badly.
yeah, she's crying with all her Masonic rings on her finger. I mean, who wears all that bling to a funeral? Please.
They had
Anyway,
footage of her at a casket, and you didn't see Charlie, you saw a hand, but it turned out it was too big a hand to be Charlie's. I've got a whole hour video where he measured the distance between knuckles on Charlie and on the cadaver, and it wasn't even flesh. It was wax. And yet you had a camera right over as she's sobbing over Charlie's hand. It's pathetic.
hey Jim, they ought to hire you as the director and as the consultant for their false flags, because you know them better than they do.
But I don't believe in lying to the public.
I know. But there was a lot of other problems too, right? They're talking about the gunman who takes the rifle apart. He takes the rifle apart, reassembles it. It's like, who's gonna run away from a shooting?
That weapon is very difficult to take apart. The whole thing is rubbish. Once you see,
they really are counting on
he ever took it seriously.
Yeah, they're counting on the ignorance of the people to really kind of get away with this. Yeah,
people believe it, so it must be true.
Yeah. Unfortunately, you're making yourself to be quite, an asset to them. So you really are deconstructing these so well. You've got it all down pat, better than they do. So they're probably going to have you design the next one. So be careful.
Here's our number one story of 2025, and it may seem odd, but here it is. Tucker, anti-Semite of the year. Now, here's a guy whose blood is red, white, and blue. This guy is as American as they come. There's no more American commentator out there than Tucker Carlson.
Yeah.
So if he's out there and being designated as anti-Semite of the year, you know something is wrong.
Exactly.
You can go ahead. Yeah, here we go. Perhaps you can read.
Okay, yeah. The activist group Stop Anti-Semitism has awarded the conservative personality Tucker Carlson its ignominious honor of Anti-Semite of the Year, citing his frequent invocation of classic anti-Semitic stereotypes. The announcement comes as Carlson sits at the center of controversy on the American right about whether extremists should be welcome in the Republican Party. It also marked the second year in a row that Stop Anti-Semitism has selected a right-wing figure for its accolade after years of awarding the mantle to mostly left-wing figures. Carlson maintains anti-Semitism by platforming and praising Holocaust revisionists and Nazi apologists while hiding behind irony and plausible deniability. The group said in a statement, by legitimizing extremist voices and weaponizing conspiratorial imagery at massive scale, he has helped drag anti-Semitic ideas back into the mainstream. A watchdog presence with more than 300,000 followers on X, Stop Anti-Semitism, regularly mobilizes against activists and social media posts. The group has faced criticism for what some perceive as an inordinate focus on Muslim personalities, pro-Palestinian actions, and non-prominent individuals. Its defenders deny that, pointing out that Stop Anti-Semitism also regularly spotlights neo-Nazis and Holocaust deniers on the right. Its finalists for Anti-Semite of the Year include pro-Palestinian celebrities Miss Rachel, Cynthia Nixon, and Marsha Cross, mixed martial art athlete and Holocaust denier Bryce Mitchell, and two personalities associated with left-wing network The Young Turks, and social media personalities on both the far left, Guy Christensen, and far right, Stu Peters. Carlson received the accolade on Sunday night at the end of a weekend in which he was a keynote speaker at the convention of Turning Point USA, the young conservatives group founded by Charlie Kirk, who was assassinated this fall. In its announcement, Stop Anti-Semitism noted Carlson's speech at Kirk's memorial service, in which he described the murder of Jesus in a way that both his critics and fans interpreted as implying that Jews or Israelis had been behind Kirk's assassination. At the convention, the Jewish pundit Ben Shapiro continued his campaign against Carlson, and Carlson declared himself to free of the anti-Jewish animus that he had long been criticized as propagating. Let me just affirm one final time. Not only am I not anti-Semite, I would say so if I was. I am not an anti-Semite for a very specific reason, Carlson said in a speech. Not because it's unpopular or my donors don't like it. I don't have donors. I am not an anti-Semite because anti-Semitism is immoral in my religion. It is immoral to hate people for how they were born. It was the same explanation that Vice President J.D. Vance offered earlier this month when he said in an NBC News interview that he believed anti-Semitism was wrong. In his own speech to Turning Points USA America Fest, Vance again refrained from criticizing extremists in the Republican Party, saying that he opposes purity tests for inclusion in the conservative movement. He also said he believed that anti-Semitism in the United States was being fueled by a real backlash against U.S. aid to Israel. As the convention was underway, last year's Anti-Semite of the Year, the right-wing streamer Candace Owens embarked on a 4-hour broadcast eviscerating Shapiro, amplifying anti-Semitic theories, including that Jews controlled the slave trade, and promoting a classic work of anti-Semitism by August Rolling, a German Catholic who believed in the blood libel and argued that the Talmud is a secret guide used by Jews for nefarious purposes. Rolling died in 1931.
But of course, those points were fundamentally correct. And what's Trump has also supported the expansion of anti-Semitism to include any criticism of Israel whatsoever. Thus, we have in Australia an illustration of clamping down. And now, as you see, Jimmy Dore's going to explain he wants to clamp down worldwide. Get this, Louisa.
Yeah, geez. Can't wait for this. Let's see.
Holy crap, Benjamin Netanyahu sounds like he's threatening every Western country on earth right now. You know why he sounds like that? Because he is. Because they're desperate. That's what desperation sounds like. Now they're overtly threatening other countries because they've lost the narrative, and people are leaving Israel in droves. People in the United States and Europe and Australia have turned against Israel.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, I know. No,
Holy crap, Benjamin.
No, that's okay. Yeah.
Well, there was more from Jimmy we wanted to hear before we.
Okay,
conclude.
let's listen to the rest of it.
Holy crap, Benjamin Netanyahu
Hold on.
sounds like he's threatening the truth about Israel and their genocide. That's what this is about.
Hold on.
So we know that ISIS
Oh, wait a minute. This is a very
turned
long...
against Israel.
Hold on.
We're not going to listen to it all.
Here we go. Okay.
So Netanyahu went on he's sounding like a mafioso. So here is what, so after the false flag in Australia that Israel engineered, where they that an ISIS guy shoot some Jewish people at a Hanukkah celebration. Remember, ISIS is working with Israel. They work with the Mossad. When ISIS fighters were working with Israel to overthrow Assad in Syria, when they would get wounded, the Israel medics would fix them up. Just so you know. So we know that ISIS and Israel are working together along with Al Qaeda. Because if they're supposed to be sworn enemies, isn't it weird that ISIS and Al Qaeda never attack Israel? So that's how you know Australia was a false flag. And what this is all about is trying to get countries like Australia and the United States and the UK and other countries to censor and clamp down on people telling the truth about Israel and their genocide. That's what this is about. And so right now he's going to try to threaten people over it. Watch this. If you don't censor, we're coming for you. Watch this. So let me. I guess I'll read it. Let me read it. I demand. Listen to how he talks. I demand. Listen to this. I demand that Western governments do what is necessary to fight anti-Semitism and provide the required safety and security for Jewish communities worldwide. They would be well advised to heed our warning. I demand action from them now. Whoa. Whoa, that sounds like Tony Soprano. That's what that sounds like. So the man for whom there is no bottom to depraved atrocity is threatening those closest to him now. How can that be? I mean, Netanyahu is the Mr. Rogers of the Middle East. I mean, it doesn't. The bottom line is that if you don't acknowledge what Netanyahu is now, then you're also part of it. Let me just put it that way.
Half of Israel knows what he is.
Yes.
Idiots here don't.
Idiots here don't, but people in Israel do. And now that he's cornered like a rat, he sounds more and more like the Khazar mafiosa that he's always been. The Samson option, let's remember what the Samson option is it's the one where Israel steals nuclear secrets from the United States in the early 60s. Then they get rid of anyone in the way in 1963. And then they install devices in major strategic spots around the world, the United States included. And if any nation gets out of line, boom, just off the coastline, washing away countless innocent people, almost like Japan, almost. And after all the money we gave him, he's demanding anything from us. Isn't that amazing?
Store of Epstein behind him
with this, right? Yeah, that's it's like your barista demanding that you wait a half hour after you spend $10 on a coffee. Oh wait, that is what happens. But anyway,
is he a stripper? That's how I feel. Like I'm being.
You got it. Go to the final slide. Go to the final slide. There it is. That's a message of 2025. To learn who rules over you, simply find out who you are not allowed to criticize.
Yeah. Well, Jim, that was an amazing report. We've gone a little over time, but it was well worth it. It was good to thank you for putting these stories together and, showing the, the viewers once again that, they need to do a little bit more critical thinking if they haven't come to these conclusions that you have.
We had 12 top stories a year instead of merely 10. So it took 2.5 hours to cover it. But it's joyful to be doing this with you on an annual basis. I really find it a great pleasure. I'm just delighted.
Oh, me as well, Jim. Thank you so much. I'm so glad that you just had a birthday recently, and look at you doing so great. And unfortunately,
let me show you something. You're gonna love this.
The Fetz. Oh man, it took me 85 years to say something, Jim, so the camera goes back on your side so I could read it.
It took me 85 years to look
this good. Oh my God. Are you 85, Jim?
85.
Are you?
Yeah.
Damn, time's flying, huh? Holy cow.
Yeah.
Man, Jim, you are just, I'm telling you, nothing stops you, slows you down. You're amazing.
Was this a sweet one?
It is sweet. And how many books? What is it, 40, 50 now, 40, Jim? 40 books. Nothing stops you. This guy's a Marine, born a Marine. He's, I'm telling you, it's like your bullets are your words and your books. I mean, you just, nothing stops you. You're unbelievable.
Thousands of videos make a bigger difference than the 40 books. I'm telling you.
Thousands.
Including this video with you today.
Oh, thanks, Jim. I appreciate it. It's been an absolute pleasure, Jim. Good to see you again. Let's make sure it's not, next year that we do another report together. Sure. We got a lot of political theater to report on, my friend. Come on.
We'll do it.
Sounds good. Well, Happy New Year to you, Jim, and Happy New Year to everyone in the...
All your followers, Louisa. You got a lot of fans in this world.
Oh, they must report to you, huh? Yeah. Look, we've gotten the gamut, right? Good and bad, right? So
let's have a great new year 2026.
Yeah, let's hope this is a better year, Jim. Let's just hope that this lawfare ends against you and that they come out, and reveal all this false flag nonsense so that we can we can get some progress. If Trump wants to end the corruption, then you have to end the false flags because nobody's giving up their guns. Because Jim Fetzer ends his report every time with these words. Take it away, Jim.
Well, I'm telling you to spend all your time with your family, your friends, the people you love and care about. We don't know how much time we have left. Use it wisely and hang around because we'll be back next year and we'll do it all over again. See you then.
Oh, there's one more thing that you say. When they come for what?
They come for our guns. The time has come to use them.
There you go, my friend. And that is how we end our reports. Everybody, you have a happy new year. Thanks for joining us. And we will see you soon. Stay safe, everyone. And Jim, thanks so much. It's been a pleasure, my friend.
Pleasure.
This concludes this edition of the GoldFish Report.